We're going to watch heel versus babyface talk about Spider-Man Brand New Day. I have no idea what he's going to say in this video. The title of the video, though, is typical for this side of YouTube. Spider-Man Brand New Day smashes the combined DCU in one weekend. Wow. Again, they can't just be happy about the success of Spider-Man. It's always going to be some sort of conflict marketing between whatever it is they're talking about and something else. Let's see what Az has to say. I hope this is interesting because I said we're not going to edit. So please be interesting.
The almost impossible to predict opening weekend box office for Spider-Man Brand New Day is now official.
Okay.
After yesterday, they counted all the tickets up and they found an extra $14 million down the side of the couch.
Right.
One thing that we do know for absolute sure is that it's already destroyed the accumulation of James Gunn's DCU.
The really interesting thing, I'm not here to, prop up James Gunn or the DCU. I got my issues with it, right? But you're trying to compare a franchise that has historically gone above and beyond when it comes to sales. You're trying to take that and use that as a gotcha against the relaunch of a failed franchise, a failed DCEU experiment. Again, I'm not a James Gunn apologist. I'm not here to defend him, but it just seems so desperate to be like, look, Spider-Man, the biggest superhero in the world, just happened to make more money than all of these other things. Shocking.
Hi, everyone. It's Az here from Heel versus Babyface.
Right.
Yeah, it's been crazy to try and, in any capacity, predict what the opening weekend for Spider-Man Brand New Day was actually going to be.
I would say it's probably not that difficult, right? You guys have all of the answers. You guys have all the answers. You know so much about the box office. You guys have a crystal ball. You're able to look in that crystal ball and go, you know what? This movie is Get Woke, Go Broke. This movie is Girl Boss. This movie has a black guy in the lead, so clearly not going to perform well. Everything that comes out, you guys seem to have all the answers to all of it. But when it comes to this and the Odyssey, it seems like you guys, like something broke, I guess. It's almost like you never really knew anything at all.
For a long time, the tracking seemed to be somewhere around $500 to $550 million.
Right.
Which would have been high, but gettable. And then the studio, a few days before it released, they said that their tracking was around about $485 million.
Okay.
Now, it's the studio's tracking, so they are going to lowball it a bit. Therefore, if it does higher, then they can go, ooh, and if it does a little bit lower than they thought, which would be around their prediction, they'd be like, well, this is what we said it would do.
Except this movie disproves that. This movie disproves that. Like, come on, bro.
Then the preview day came out. The preview day, which of course consisted of Wednesday and Thursday, clocking in at $72 million. And when that happened, speculation just became rampant.
Oh.
There was talk of $800 million opening worldwide. I laughed. I laughed at that. Gary from Nerdrotic, we scoffed at that. We're like, hey.
Right, because you guys don't actually know anything. That's the crazy part, fam. They don't know. All we've seen over the last couple of months is these guys really don't know shit about anything they're talking about. They just don't get it. If you want to believe that these guys are gurus of the industry, if their fans, their viewers want to believe they're gurus of the industry, then they wouldn't be looking at projections. They wouldn't be looking at what he said, she said. They wouldn't be doing these things. They would be able to look at the math themselves and figure out something because they know so much about the industry. But when something like this happens and they have to admit that they were all wrong, they've been wrong and strong for 2 movies now, Odyssey and Spider-Man. They've been wrong about 2 in a row. And the crazy thing is, this is the movie where or the series, I guess, the IP, the franchise, where they've complained about Zendaya. Oddly enough, I've noticed all of these guys call her Zendaya. I don't know if it's some kind of shade you're throwing at her or whatever, but it's Zendaya. It's pronounced as it's spelled.
100, no. That's a bit high. That's a bit too high. And then in Afternoon Tea with Az on Sunday, I speculated that it'll probably do a little bit over 700 million. But I'll be honest with you, we were winging it at that point.
Oh,
and I say we, I mean the people who are doing the predictions.
Right. It's again, I love this. This is the energy that I really love, right? It's good to just be honest to your audience and tell them you don't know what you're talking about. I appreciate that. We love to see this. More of this energy in the future. When are you going to finally admit that you guys don't know anything about wokeness or the message or any of that? When is that going to happen? Because, man, you guys have really dropped the ball.
Because everything seemed on the table. Some predictions had now come out going, it's going to hit $1 billion worldwide. Opening weekend. Opening weekend. Well, they turned out to be the closest, believe it or not, beating out the people that thought it would do even 800 million. Who, again, I just want to self-felt here and say who I scoffed at.
I also, when we're watching this, I don't know if he's going to get to it or not, but I am curious if he's going to do the same little like digs that everybody else is doing, if they're all on the same page with this, because we're getting back to conformity with these channels. We're seeing the expansion kind of shut off, and they're sort of like pulling everything sort of close to their chest, right? They're making sure they're keeping everything close to their chest. So the things that I've heard as we watch these videos over the last couple of weeks is it's a Sony movie. It's not a Marvel movie. That this has nothing to do with the MCU, even though it's in the MCU. It's a collaboration between Sony and Disney. It is solidly in the MCU. We have Punisher in this. We have Hulk in it. And spoilers, we got Jean Grey in the movie. So this is solidly in the MCU. So they've tried to use those sort of excuses. They've tried to say this isn't going to help any future projects from Disney and Marvel because they're using some other films as examples, even though we've seen in the past that Spider-Man has been grouped in with other successful Marvel movies. It's just whatever they can say negative at this point.
And after the adjusted weekend came in, because the predicted came in at $927 million. $927 million worldwide. But then when they tallied all up correctly and they got all their reporting in line, an extra $14 million was found, upwards, of course, and it ended up on an opening weekend worldwide of just over $941 million. Are you shitting me? Now, here are the numbers, as you can see from the Numbers website. Many people ask in the comment section, where's he get this from? This is thenumbers.com. I think they're way better than Box Office Mojo. Their reporting is a lot more accurate. But you see that 360 million domestic, 581.7 internationally, with a grand total of 941,793,644.
I want to point out this is also without IMAX. Now, they are opening up IMAX screens for Spider-Man down the road. I believe they said they're going to be doing that in the next week or so. So people will be able to go see it in IMAX. That's going to really pump up the financial numbers for the film.
Just for the purists out there. Now then, there has been talk that it has beaten the Avengers Endgame opening weekend to become the biggest opening weekend of all time. Like for like, yes. I'm an inflation bro. You're an inflation bro.
I'm not. And inflation bro shit is stupid. It's stupid. So we're going to let him say it. I'm not going to correct him on it because inflation bro shit is the dumbest conversation. I want to reiterate, no one gives a fuck about it. The people that are making money today don't care about it. The studios don't care about it. Analysts don't even care about it. That's why we don't talk about it. These guys love to use it. I don't even understand what the point of this conversation is. But let's let him go ahead and say some dumb shit because that's what he does.
Inflation bros forever. Endgame still beats it. But look, cinemas have been in the doldrums for a long time. They haven't had any big W's. I mean,
they just had the Odyssey. They just had Toy Story. Minions is still doing really well. You track numbers. You know this year has been on track to be a good year for the box office. Holy fuck.
Films like Obsession have done so above and beyond. It's on 460 odd million now, which is crazy. On a budget of 750,000. I have it on good authority that it's not 750,000. It's actually a wee bit more than 750,000. But
are you still doing the inside source like trust me bro shit when you got this movie absolutely wrong, when you guys got Odyssey absolutely wrong? I'm sorry. Don't trust you.
Even with the number that I was presented with, it's still in hundreds and hundreds of millions profit. We're not talking like it's suddenly inflated to 50 million or something. No. So Obsession has done great. 460 million at the box office. That's not going to save the box office, though. It's great for independent filmmakers. It's great for low budget films making huge profit. Backroom's another one, low budget, around about 10 million, making really good profit on that. But they haven't had that blockbuster that they had with Endgame and Infinity War, and what they used to have with the MCU, which they no longer get because the MCU has turned into slop.
This movie is the MCU. It quite literally is the MCU. By the way, I want to point out this year, he's leaving a lot of movies out, right? So Toy Story hit $1 billion, obviously Spider-Man Brand New Day, Michael, Super Mario Galaxy movie, The Odyssey is going to hit $1 billion. Right now, since this is the biggest year since 2019. Yeah, it's the biggest year since 2019. So I don't know what bro is talking about. I don't know what he's rambling about.
Absolute trash slop. The DCU, one could argue, has always been in that category, and we're still waiting for the DCU to actually come out and do something good.
They've had 2 movies.
So Brand New Day, 941.8 almost million on the opening weekend. Now, because this is such a huge number, it really has brought some things to the forefront. For example, Superman, James Gunn's Superman from last year brought in a complete total box office of $618.7 million.
Right. Okay. So let's talk about this for a second since he wants to play this game. It's a failed universe. It was the relaunch of Superman. It's a convoluted thing that DC is dealing with because they had to basically reboot more than once into this new universe. And Spider-Man is pound for pound more popular than Superman by a large margin. And the Spider-Man franchise has been doing well since the beginning. So there's a lot of things you have to look at outside of, oh, it's a sucky movie and that's why it underperformed. But these guys don't want to talk about that. Is he even going to mention any of that?
That was on a projected 225 million production budget, I don't believe that for one moment. I think it's much higher, but
you don't know that.
We'll play their game. And also a marketing budget of around about 125
marketing doesn't count.
$1 million.
Marketing gets factored in as a loss, and then it gets written off.
This would have to hit somewhere in the region of 700 million to have broken even. It didn't.
It doesn't matter because the studio greenlit a sequel, meaning they were happy with the performance. So all the argument about how much it made, it's not your money. It's not our money. So you acting like you need to know the details of it in order to be convinced. It doesn't matter, man.
Break even at the box office.
Which, by the way, this is the same group of people that just argued the other day when talking about the Odyssey. We did a video on this, that the box office numbers are not indicative of the quality of the film. This is what they were saying on Friday Night Tights. So I guess Az didn't get the memo.
And then we have Supergirl.
Right. Yeah. He just, so at this point, it's a fetish for him. It's a fetish for him to talk about Supergirl. He can't let it go. I have a suspicion that Az actually really likes Millie Alcock. This is all speculation. I don't have evidence. I mean, there's plenty of evidence on his channel. He's made so many videos trashing Supergirl at this point. Far beyond the relevance of Supergirl. It's not like the Supergirl movie is even still in theaters or they're still promoting it heavily or anything like that. Nobody's arguing that it did well financially, but bro just can't let it go. He just cannot let it go.
With $125.8 million. Now, Supergirl hasn't reported since last Thursday. So if you combine that 618
right, we're gonna do
plus 125.8, you get around about 743-45-ish $1 million, which means
I love the sports thing that's going on here where you take like the lowest performing thing from something and then you compare it to the highest performing thing, and that's supposed to be some big moment. Right? It's supposed to be some big moment. Spider-Man almost making $1 billion is somehow affects Supergirl's box office. Like we're surprised that Spider-Man made more money than Supergirl. Like, I don't know anybody out there that was like going to bat for Supergirl, saying Supergirl was going to make $1 billion. I wanted the movie to be good. I wanted to enjoy the movie. I wanted the movie to turn a profit. I never thought it was going to make $1 billion. I didn't even know if it was going to make 500 million.
Means that Spider-Man Brand New Day has outgrossed the accumulation of James Gunn's DCU.
By the way, I also want to point out Spider-Man as a IP is valued more than a lot of IPs. Spider-Man, so the MCU is the most successful franchise in the world, in history, in terms of cinema. Spider-Man is included in that along with the non-MCU films. So you can do the math in your head. Why would I give a fuck about how well Spider-Man Brand New Day performed financially? Why would I care that that beat Supergirl, a brand new IP in DC that didn't ever have a chance of making Spider-Man money? Never had a shot. You could argue Superman might have been able to make $1 billion. You could argue that. But again, there were other factors at play with Superman.
By $200 million in its opening weekend. Oh, hold on a minute. We're getting breaking news. Supergirl has now reported its weekend box office figures. This could be a game changer. All Supergirl needs to have done this.
So here's the crazy thing. When we say that these guys have an issue with women, this is what I'm talking about. Like, what's the point of this? Like, legitimately, bro. Like, what's the point of this? Does it make you excited? Do you get really aroused and turned on when you get to dunk on Supergirl? Like, why are we still talking about a movie that, again, no one is defending? No one is doing it. I don't know any other channel right now that is talking about Supergirl consistently like heel versus babyface. What did Supergirl do to you? Like, there has to be something. Like, when people decide to make content on something, you got to have a reason why. It can't just be that the movie is not performing well, because we've been known that for a while now. So it can't just be that. So there has to be something else going on here.
This weekend, to make sure that Spider-Man doesn't beat the accumulation of the DCU, is $200 million. So let's see how Supergirl's done at this weekend. It did. Oh, the anticipation's killing me. It did. It did $95,000.
This is just so fucking, like, this is what you guys are doing, right? You don't have anything recent to talk about. You can't talk about the Odyssey. You can't dunk on Spider-Man. So you're like rewinding to Supergirl? Who legitimately, who gives a fuck about Supergirl? As someone that went to the movie and wanted the movie to be good, I don't even care about Supergirl anymore. This is sad, man. Like, BetterHelp is available. It legitimately is. It's available for you.
Liz. Whew. So,
and your point?
I guess that one's off the table then. Now, I personally think that the funniest thing through all of this is what James Gunn himself said when he was speaking to Rolling Stone magazine, I think during the press junket for Guardians of the Galaxy 3, when asked the question about superhero fatigue, he said, I think there is such a thing as superhero fatigue. I think it doesn't have anything to do with superheroes. It has to do with the kind of stories that get to be told. And if you lose your eye on the ball, which is character,
well, the crazy thing is, like, I don't agree with him about superhero fatigue. I don't think superhero fatigue is real. I don't think it's real. We're allowed to have different opinions about that. However, one of the things about Supergirl, since we're still talking about that movie, I guess, is that most people, the general audience, agrees that Millie Alcock was good in the role. So there was a focus on character. It was a lot of the other shit in that movie that didn't work.
We love Superman. We love Batman. We love Iron Man, because these are incredible characters that we have in our hearts. The key is therefore pushing these characters and personal stories to the forefront, Gunn said, instead of just thinking.
I think it's really interesting that we're doing a video here, or Heel versus Babyface is doing a video about Spider-Man's box office success. Okay? We're about 70% into the video. We did talk about the numbers at the very beginning, and then we devolved into the same old thing, which is deflect away from success and start talking about the failures of something unrelated to Spider-Man. This is probably the most pathetic existence. Like, if you were asking me as a content creator, like, Eric, what is the most pathetic thing someone has to do? And I would say it's being a court jester for ad revenue on YouTube. Right? Having to perform for your audience and make a fool of yourself to keep them entertained. And that's kind of what these guys do. Some to more degrees than the other. Like, here we have Heel versus Babyface, who, if he was a legitimate film critic, like somebody that really wanted to talk about movies, as these guys claim to be most of the time, not all the time, we would see him talking about Spider-Man's success, and then he would talk about what this means for future Spider-Man movies, what it might mean for the MCU, or he could just wrap it up after he talks about the box office numbers and maybe talk about the projections for the upcoming weeks, all those things. But no, that's not what we do. What we do is we talk a little bit about the success of Spider-Man, and then in that same Spider-Man video, we shift over to talk about an interview from James Gunn from years ago about a movie that came out years ago in order to dunk on a movie like Supergirl that underperformed well before Spider-Man came out. And we're going to ignore things like Toy Story, Minions, The Odyssey, all of these other current movies that are still in the box office that are all performing really well and are making hundreds of millions and billions of dollars for the film industry. This is quite literally the most humiliating. It's like a humiliation ritual. It is quite literally the most humiliating thing I think you could do as a content creator. You leave all of your you take your brain out of your head and you place it by the door. You come in, you say all the things that you think your listeners want to hear, all your viewers want to hear. And quite literally, you just melt into the brain rot. And that's it. We're gonna finish the video. We're gonna finish the video. I'm gonna let him the whole video. We're gonna watch the whole thing. But I have to say, this is very sad. This is a sad existence. It doesn't even matter. Like, we talk about success on YouTube. It's not even that, right? It's just the lack of self-respect. It's having to get on camera and play the character every single time you turn it on instead of just being yourself. That's the crazy part. And if this is who he really is, then that's even worse.
Thinking about them as tools to create good action scenes, which in itself is up for speculation.
Right.
If it becomes just a bunch of nonsense on screen, it gets really boring, he continued. But I get fatigued by most spectacle films by the grind of not having an emotionally...
So he even says something there that means it's not specific to superheroes. I get fatigued by most spectacle films. So, like, when he says I think there is such a thing as superhero fatigue. I think it doesn't have anything to do with superheroes. So he is clarifying what he means there, but using superhero fatigue is culture war, outrage farming on social media.
Grounded story, like Superman, like Supergirl. It doesn't have anything to do with whether they're superhero movies or not. If you don't have a story at the base of it,
this is really
just
compelling.
watching things bash each other, no matter how clever those bashing moments are. Well, in Superman and Supergirl, they were shite.
Right.
No matter how clever the designs and the VFX are, it just gets fatiguing. And I think that's very, very real.
So such compelling content in a video where we're talking about $1 billion opening weekend for Spider-Man. I'm so glad we went back and read this James Gunn interview in its entirety years and years and years later. For what reason?
Just imagine if James Gunn had taken his own advice when it came to making Superman.
Right.
Hell, that actually is relatable to the whole of the DCU.
Right.
From Creature Commandos to Peacemaker to Superman to Supergirl.
Yeah. So here's what's going on. I want you guys to be very clear as we go through this week and we're seeing more and more of these videos. These guys are struggling. This is struggle sessions with their channels because they've reached a point now, and it's only going to get worse, I fear, for these guys as the year goes on. They've reached a point where the last thing they can dunk on right now, because Odyssey didn't work out for them. Obviously, Toy Story wasn't going to work out for them. Spider-Man is not going to work out for them. So they've reached a point where the last thing they can complain about is James Gunn and the DCU. And pretty soon, we got Clayface coming out, and we're hearing here and there that the movie is actually really good. It's also a low budget, so it doesn't matter if it only makes like 100 million, 150 million at the box office. I don't think DC is going to be too worried about it. But it's not looking good for these guys.
And most likely, from what we've seen so far anyway, in the upcoming Lantern show as well. And
yeah, when I saw that trailer, first thing I thought is this is going to be shit. And y'all are trying really hard.
We now know that Spider-Man Brand New Day, after its Monday taking, it's yet to be official, but we know, has now gone over the $1 billion mark. Right. Second fastest movie to do that, certainly in the modern era of Hollywood. The question now is, how much is it going to make? Is it going to hit 2?
Yes.
Is it going to go above?
It might hit 3.
Who knows? Because this
Certainly
film seems impossible to predict right now. Some say it's amazing. I'll see you guys and gals.
All right, so we got through the whole video. I do want to talk a little bit more with you guys before you go. I appreciate you sitting with me and hanging out. I know it was rough with Az here. This is a good signal for me, right? I feel very good right now. We had an incredible ass spanking with the Odyssey. These guys did everything they could, going as far as to go on Piers Morgan, having Elon Musk try and cause the Odyssey to fail. And then it all came crashing down on top of them. And they started to see the writing on the wall. Some of them tried to pivot. Some of them still continued to say it was a flop, even though we know that it's not. And it's going to crack $1 billion if it hasn't already by the time this video comes out. So we have that. Then Spider-Man comes out. It's an MCU project. Although Spider-Man has typically performed really well, we know that some previous MCU movies have not done as great at the box office. So they were very conservative on their outrage for Spider-Man Brand New Day going into the movie because they didn't want to be caught up in making a mistake with that movie, right? They're like, we don't want to do that. So now they have reached a point where they're like, fuck. They're like, we don't have anything to talk about. So a lot of them are just kind of digging their heels in, playing the whole Sony made the movie, Marvel didn't. We've seen that with Nerdrotic and some of the other guys. You got heel versus babyface here. He's like, I'm just going to keep talking about DCU and Supergirl. He mentioned Lanterns, so I assume that he is hoping that Lanterns is obviously bad so he can make some money off of that. Because if he doesn't, it is a bleak 2026 for these guys. Because we know the big movies at the end of the year, Doomsday and Dune 3, are most likely also going to make money. Are they going to make Spider-Man money? Who knows? But we know they're going to make money. Doomsday is already selling I think 20 million in early tickets already. Projections are going to come out soon. The official projections are going to come out for it based on tracking. They just don't have a lot, guys. They do not have a lot. And what's crazy is if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe to the channel. If you watched all the way till here, please consider subscribing. I'm trying to reach 10K before the end of the year. If you're a subscriber of this channel, what's going to be great about this is watching the coping and the disappointment and the downfall of these channels if 2026 plays out like I suspect it will. And when I say downfall, I want to be very clear. I don't mean that the channels are going to go under and everybody's going to stop making content. We're just going to see relevance drop. We're going to see numbers drop. We're going to see these guys talking about things. It's why are they talking about, the Children of Blood and Bone coming out in 2027? Why are they talking about that? Why are they skipping over the rest of 2026? Because they don't have anything. And that's really what it comes down to. It comes down to the fact that they are struggling and they're going to continue to struggle for the rest of the year. They're hoping for a red carpet snafu. They're hoping for some earned media stumbling. They are ready to flop watch something the minute it happens. The minute somebody goes on the red carpet and says something that they can flop watch on, they're going to do it. And here's the thing. I don't believe that they're going to flop watch something knowingly expecting that thing to fail. If there's Dune interviews where somebody says something stupid, they're probably not going to say it's going to fail financially, but they might try and push the narrative that it's going to fail creatively. That might be the angle they go with it. But even that only has a certain level of return on it for their channels. They're going to reach a point where they hit a ceiling on it. But also, before I go, one last thing. Remember that these guys don't make their money when the movie comes out and they've watched the movie. They make the bulk of their money flop watching and poisoning the well. That's where they make their money at. So when you see the videos come out where they start making the funny thumbnails and talking shit about people months and months and months before a movie comes out. They're making their money there. It doesn't matter if they ever review the movie. It doesn't matter if they ever talk about it after it comes out. They can make one video after it comes out and they're ready to move on to the next thing. That's why it's so incredibly funny to me that he's talking about Supergirl. He's talking about Superman from last year. It's so incredibly funny to me because that means he has no plan. There's no plan in place for anything else that's coming out over the next few months. I love that for him. It's great.